That's right, you know what time it is. It is happy hour with the Lincoln time. Let me give you guys an official cheers. I believe we're on episode number 58. Don't quote me on that. Besides, who cares? Who's counting amongst friends? I'm just glad you guys are here. If this is the first time you're watching, this is where week by week I'll do my best to answer all of your stock market related questions. So if you got something on your mind, you got something you think is going to benefit the trading community, you got something that you think is going to inject life into a happy hour, do me a favor, send it over to support@thelincolnlist.com. I'll do my best to get it featured on these episodes. If I don't, I give you my word, I will at least answer your questions so you're not left stranded out there in cyberspace. Also, if you're trying to take your trading to another level, you want to make that next step in the evolution of your trading process, trade with us live each day. Somewhere here, the link, click on it, you'll be directed right to our trading room. You can begin to trade with us live. Now, you might be sitting there as well saying, "Oh, Master, oh, wise one, what knowledge will you bestow upon us today?" Because I got something real good. I got something really good that I think you're going to like. And it's what I call the accordion effect. And this is something that you're going to go through a whole lot when you first start trading. But as you progress, it's still going to be there. It's something that's never going to go away. You're just going to be able to deal with it a little bit better, and it's going to be a little less painful each and each time. So what is it? We're going to talk about it because it's in today's question. So today's question is help. I really don't like when you guys started out with help. It really scares me because I don't know what I'm getting into. Hey there, Doug. I just fell into another cold patch where nothing I do is working. I went the route of changing a few things up, adapting to conditions, like your whiteboards say, but this seems to happen on cue every 3 months. I'll put in a good few months together, start to feel confident, then start slowly losing money, and if it lasts all month, then the losses from that month are more than the gains from the previous 3. I'm really committed to making this work, but I cannot seem to break this cycle. Any help is appreciated. All right, look, I know you're going through that. If you're not trading yet, you're going to go through that. I'm in this business for almost 20 years now. I still go through this. No matter what you do or how, if you're going to make this a career, there's going to be very good times and there's going to be bad times. Now, when I say bad, I'm not saying it's just horrendous. When you first start out, bad times are horrendous. They can be difficult, but like I said in the beginning, the difference between a pro and an amateur is that you recognize that these times are not as good and they're not as bad. You just don't make as much money. So for example, you know, I have good and bad months, but a bad month to me is still a very profitable month. When I say very profitable, I mean something that, 10 years ago, I would have got down and ate ants off of the street for and never thought you were anywhere serious that I would make that kind of money. So that's now a bad month for me, and it'll be that way for you too. So what is this accordion effect? Well, think of it this way. When you first start out trading, you're just consumed with trying to learn how to just read a chart, just execute a trade, just manage a trade. And the market seems like it's coming at you 1,000 miles an hour. That's why I always say in the whiteboards, we tell everybody in the trading room, look, if you're new, you're just trying to learn your strategy. You're just trying to get it under control and deal in a real world market environment, not simulated traded garbage. You're trying to deal in a real live trading environment. It takes some time. So there's no reason for you to be trading with any heavy position sizes at that point because you're learning. Now, it won't take you long to understand how to find a stock. Like I said before, it takes you like 2 weeks to learn how to read a chart. It's not that hard. And it takes you a little bit of time, but only a few months, I think, for most people, regardless of whatever your past educational level or confidence might be. It only takes a few months. Then what happens is you start to see, hey, this does work. Yeah, that does do that. Yes, I make some money. I can see this working for me. And then you start to expand. You expand your knowledge. You expand your profits. You do good. And then something happens and back to square one. Take a big loss, market humbles you like it does all of us every so often. Then you get back up off your feet, you start building back up, you learn your lessons, you start moving forward. You're like, okay, I'm a soldier, I'm a warrior, I got off the canvas, and then there again, back to square one. Now this is going to happen a lot, and this is just part of the growing pains. Now, the individual that wrote this did not say how long they were in trading, but in the beginning, you're going to go through this, and there's nothing to be ashamed about it. It's nothing to feel depressed about. It's what we all have to go through because the market works in cycles. And when I say cycles, I'm talking about the intricacies, the interworkings of the market. I don't mean the market going up or down. That's just bogus garbage. Don't mean nothing to you as a trader because You're trading stocks. If you're a stock trader, you're not trading the market itself. If you are, that's a different story. But just because the market goes up, let's say it goes up 10 days in a row, that doesn't mean all 10 days were exactly the same. You know, some days might have been a lot of whipsaw, some might have been chopped, some might have been really bullish, some might have been bearish all day, but just bounced later on in the afternoon. Could have done 10 different things in all 10 of those days. But you're going to go through periods where your strategy really works with the market. And it's during these times as a trader we build our confidence and we start to think, oh, you know, I can do this, I got this down. And it's natural that when you become confident, you start to take on more risks. And you got to be careful about this because newer traders have the tendency when they confuse risk for process. Taking on more risk, you know, means you got to stay with your process. You just trade heavier size, but you still have to be the same disciplined trader. Taking on more risk doesn't mean gambling trades or revenge trades or trading something through earning. That's not what it means. But we're going to go through this. Now, according to the way this email has written, there's one really good thing about it. The individual is saying that if this cold streak lasts all month, then they'll lose their previous months, which means it's not one single loss that's taken them out. And that's good. Now, if you're somebody out there that has a single loss problem where you got a bunch of wins and then a big loss comes by, you got an issue there as to why you're letting that loss run. You're disobeying something, some form of discipline, most likely your stop. You know, maybe it's a revenge trade and you're trading like 100 shares on your winners, then you just 500 or 600 shares on this one and you're too heavy. Maybe it's a situation like that. But whatever it is, it's a part of it's part of gambling because if you allow one trade to clean up all of that, then you've got a discipline problem, you have an ego problem, you got something going on that's allowing you to it. And again, I'm not judging, buddy. I've been in that situation, and sometimes I veer off and go rogue myself. So, hey, judge not, at least you be judge yourself, right? I've done it. It's understandable. Here it looks like the person's going through a cold streak, again, which is what all of us do. So how do we handle this? What do we got to do? The thing you got to understand, like I said, the market runs in cycles. You're going to have these periods of time where everything is working for you. And then you're going to run into a period when it doesn't. It doesn't matter whether the market's going up or down. That's all irrelevant to the whole thing that you're doing. But let's say you're entering this cold patch. The first thing that you have got to do here, there's the number one goal that has to take place, is you no longer are thinking about being a money-making, profitable trader. Forget that, okay? What you're trying to do after you go through a cold spell, you take some losses, whatever it is, the first goal you have is just get consistent again. That's it. Just get consistent again. You're not worried about making money. Just start putting together a couple of good trades. Get your confidence back. And if you're new, you got to do this as quick as you possibly can. How you do that is first and foremost, like we've said so many times, got to lower the size. Just tail it back because I want you to understand you're going from a stock trader who's I'm going after money every day to somebody who's entering a survival mode. Like, no. I've got to survive right now. You know, maybe it's going to last 2 or 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, but I've got to work my way through this. And what I really have to focus on is not doing a lot of damage to my account. So first, lower your size. The second thing that you want to do here in this case is become extremely discriminative about what it is that you're trading. I want you to look at every single trade. Like, this is the last trade I'm ever going to be taking. This is the trade that they will etch on my tombstone when I die. Do I want this bastard on my tombstone? Is this what I want to be remembered for? Is this the one? Then you really look at that and ask yourself, do I want to take this? Because I don't really want to have margin for error right now. I don't have risk money. I've got to be very careful with what I take. And like I said, and then the last one is start building that consistency back. That's all you have to do. And see, the difference between professionals and amateurs is the professional just recognize, it's all about recognition and recognizing it faster. It's not that we're right more than you are, because in most cases we're not. I mean, like I said before, I know traders that make a lot of money on 40% wins, right? It's just a matter of recognizing, okay, this trade's not going to work, and they exit where the amateur hopes. Hopers are dopers, and they hold on, try to make it work, and it turns out to be a loss. A trader knows, a pro trader knows, oh man, I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm done trading for the day. I'm sorry, but I ain't got this day under control. This day's got me. They walk away. Newer trader fights, revenge trade. A professional trader looks at something like this. I'm cold. I'm hot. I'm throwing up junk. I can't get nothing. What do? I back down my size. I back down the amount of trades I take. I try to get considered. I get on it like that. Like that. You know, changing like that. Where the newer trader continues to fight, continues to force because they're under the pressure or feel they're under the pressure to make money. That's the only difference. So I want you to know that why this is so important is because there's only so many of those accordions that you can handle. Because think about what you're doing to yourself. You're going to go through this period where you're doing real well, then you lose. Then you do real well, then you lose. There's only so many times you're going to be able to come back from that. And worse, it builds on your psychology so bad because what's going to happen is you're going to get in a situation that I was in many, many years ago, which is you don't want to take any loss anymore. You are scared bejizzles to take a loss because you know if you take a loss, it's going to wipe out your wins. And at some point, you're going to take a stand and say, screw that. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of these one losses taking me out. And then you put up a fight and then you realize that was a very bad idea because I just made a bad problem, a much worse problem. And then, as you know, it keeps working its way against you. And again, like I say a lot, psychology is the number one thing. And it's really important for you newer people out there to understand that if you continue to go through that accordion effect, you would continue to have to get yourself back up off the mat, continue to have to fight back. You're going to get tired of that. You're going to burn yourself out. It's not going to be fun. And then later on down the road, when you become a really knowledgeable, smart trader, you're going to have a hard time getting rid of all that crap that you did to yourself in the beginning. Trust me, I know exactly what it's like. So I'm going to wrap it up right there. In closing, remember guys, it's all about lowering the size, being more discriminative, and just getting yourself back on track. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Doesn't mean that your trading is dumb. Doesn't mean that you're a losing trader. We all do it. Well, we all go through bad months, but you'll realize that a bad month when you're an amateur is a losing month, but a bad month when you're a pro is just not as a profitable month. So that's what your ultimate goal is. So until the next happy hour, I salute another cheers to you. Take care, trade well. Cheers.